Great. So we are already done with our technical topics. A little bit here and there, maybe few topics are pending, very small, but that we will see if we are getting those questions in interviews. If not, then we won't have to focus. As I have been telling you that we are doing this, uh, it's a job oriented or interview oriented training we have been doing. So there are n number of things which we have not done. I won't brag it that we have covered everything. There are n number of things, right? But everyone cannot learn everything. That is for sure. And even your interviewer, your companies, they know it. So we have covered maximum things which we get in our interview, maximum things which will help you to get hired, maximum things which will help you to complete your job. Right? So all of these things we have covered. Major topics we have already covered. So there's nothing which we have to cover more unless we see a pattern that let's say when you guys start giving interviews that this question is being asked or this topic is being discussed very frequently and we haven't spent much time on that, something like that if we face, then we might take another session or so, right? Apart from that, I don't think so we have to cover anything. So today's session, what we are doing is first thing we'll talk about the resume. How do you have to create the resume? Though I have shared this copy with everyone, but still I'll go ahead and discuss this once. Then we'll talk about Naukri profile, right? And then we'll talk about LinkedIn profile. It's more or less same, LinkedIn and Naukri, what you have to do about how you have to update, what uh, details should be there, etc. Right? And after that, then we'll start discussing a common project, that what kind of project can you talk about or how can you portray it, right? And in this session, these are the only things which we are going to do. Apart from that, yes, we're going to see some questions as well. uh, Again, generic questions, general questions, right? And this will be the last session which we are having as a group. Post this, now we'll connect with you. I will connect with you on one-on-one basis. Then I'll try to understand your resume. Today, once I explain this, I'm expecting you guys to prepare your resume and then either send it in the group or send it to me. Both are fine. You can send it in the group as well, so others can use to refer that and create your their own resume. Others can refer it somewhere if they see any job, and if someone is asking, sometimes some uh, recruiter they call, okay, I have this kind of opening, I have got your resume, are you available for the interview? Do you have similar colleagues whom you can refer to? They can send your resume over there, right? So you can send it in the group or you can send it to me. We'll go ahead and check that, and then after that I'll start the mock calls on individual level. And last time, as I told you, that if the candidate is comfortable, then I will send the invite to all of you for just for the spectator, as in you can just be there on mute and listen what questions are being asked and how the person is answering. And people who do not want anyone else to be a part of their mock call, that is also fine. There we will do just one by one. I will be there most of the time. Again, I'll be on mute. I won't be speaking anything. I'll just be, I'll note down few things and I'll share the feedback with you. And sometimes it may happen that my time slot is not matching with the panel. So you may face that you are sitting alone with the panel. You can face that as well. Ultimately, I'll get the feedback from whoever is being interviewed. The interview panel will share the feedback with me, and ultimately, I'll come to know where did you go for, or where did you uh, do well, where you have to practice a little bit more, right? वो सब आ जाएगा and I'll share the feedback with you. This we can do with group or individual, that I will leave up to the candidate. So this is what we are going to do in upcoming weeks. Simultaneously, if I get any openings, etc., I'll be sharing that sometimes in group if I feel it's very common opening, anyone can apply. And if I feel that this is very specific for this person, now by now I know all of you, right? I know this person is coming from SQL background. I know this person is coming from Windows background. For example, now today itself we have an opening. I have an opening here in one of the companies. Sorry, in one of the companies where they are looking for someone who has good experience on Azure plus Linux, right? But it's a very specific demand that they do not want anyone who knows a little bit here and there and doable. They do not want a candidate who is doable. They want a perfect candidate because this will be the only candidate for that one project. A client has approximately 30-35 Linux servers and 5 to 10 Windows servers, and those servers are being uh, hosted on Azure. So they are looking for someone who knows Linux and Azure combination. Windows are hardly 5 servers, so even if someone doesn't know Windows, they will teach जितना भी छोटा मोटा काम होगा वो बता देंगे. So if I get a specific opening like this, then I'll connect with you on one-on-one basis, right? So this is what we are going to do, guys. Now for this one also, if anyone in this group who feels that he's very good with Linux and Azure, whatever we have covered till now, that much of Azure is more than enough for this role. This is with T Systems. It's a company in Pune, uh, Balewadi. It's a good company. So if anyone thinks that he is suitable for this profile, feel free to prepare your resume and share it with me. One more thing, guys, do not think कि आपने एक resume बना लिया और वो हर जगह चलेगा. No. We will create a generic resume which will put on Naukri, LinkedIn, etc. But please be always be ready with your word file of your resume. और जहाँ किसी opening के लिए कुछ change चाहिए होता है वहां पर आपको करना पड़ेगा. For example, here this opening they were looking for a migration from SAP to Azure. It's not a big deal on Azure, right? Though we have not covered that, but once you understand the concept of migration, SAP migration to Azure migration, it's very simple provided you have basic information of SAP. So accordingly, you can modify your resume. You can mention that, okay, in my first company, I have worked on SAP. Similarly, the opening which I was talking about, Linux and Azure, then you won't use this generic resume. Here you will type something about Linux. I have worked on 50 Linux servers. I have worked on a project on Linux. This is what I have done in Linux. We used to do uh, these tasks on Linux, etc., etc. Right. So always be open about it and be available with your Word file. You may have to change things. I may tell you that this is the opening, please put these points. Right, I will just give you the keywords. You will have to make sure to follow format and wordings, etc. And sometimes your interviewer itself tells you that, okay, this opening, I think your resume is suitable, but I don't think so. I don't see anywhere that you have worked on migration. Can you please add a point of migration? Then you add a point of migration like this. Then you resend the resume. This was just an example. Though migration we are going to keep by default. Is this clear, guys, still here to everyone?
Yes, Sohil.
Okay. So let's start with resume. Very first thing, resume's name, file name. Do not just type CV name, uh, basic like Prabhat underscore resume, Prabhat underscore new resume, Razak CV, Razak new CV. Don't do that, guys. It first thing, it looks very unprofessional, right? I'll tell you why are we focusing on CV. Uh, Imagine that you are. It hardly takes 15 minutes to have a perfect resume. Okay, you can everyone can have their own definition of perfect, but to at least have a good resume, 15 minutes. And you're demanding a job of 15 LPA minimum. That is what we are targeting here, right? 15 LPA. And if you do not spend 15 minutes on a resume, then it gives very bad impression. I mean, when we talk with our recruiters, they don't even show us those resumes जहाँ पे formatting वगैरह पे काम नहीं किया हुआ. They won't even show those resumes. They say that this candidate is not serious enough for the job. जो एक 15 लाख के जॉब के लिए 15 मिनट्स नहीं स्पेंड कर सकता है रेज्यूम पे, दिस पर्सन इज नॉट गोइंग टू स्पेंड सम टाइम on our client's work. This person is not suitable. Immediately they come to this conclusion. Can understand this can be bias. It's maybe too early to judge whatever it is, but that is how it works, right? We are not here to हम किसी को सुधारने नहीं बैठे. Our job is to our aim is to get a job for ourselves, right? And to get a job we should get an opportunity first, and to get opportunity these are the things we'll have to focus on. So very first thing is name. Make sure you give the name properly, like your name. Azure admin, all of us here, no one is trying for architect, all of us trying for Azure admin. So go ahead with Azure admin. Don't put cloud admin. You put cloud admin, AWS people, GCP people will start fetching your resume. Later they will say, okay, not suitable, they will just throw away your profile. And even if they have Azure opening, later on your profile will not be there because maybe they have just moved it. See, the Naukri profile or Monster profile or wherever you see, whatever you see on your screen, you will have different options, and recruiters, they will have different options. I have closely worked with recruiters as well, so I know what kind of options do they get, what kind of filters do they get, how do they segregate these resume. Imagine one thing: you are a recruiter, okay? You have two positions for Azure admin. Your manager has told you that I'm looking for two Azure admin. Minimum experience should be 5 years. Okay, minimum experience should be five. Let me put it on the notepad. It will be easier for you to understand that why am I emphasizing on name. Let's say that you are a recruiter. Your manager has given the details that minimum 5 years plus should be Azure admin. This is the minimum requirement. Education, etc. It's okay. Company policy, whatever. Now, being a recruiter for these five position, you get 50 resumes. Right? Out of these 50 resumes, now you have to go and check. Out of these 50 resumes, 8 resumes, by the name itself, you see, I'm just taking any name, for example, let's say Munir. Munir, Azure admin, 6 years. This is the name. Similarly, let's say we have 8 resumes, right? And remaining resume, I have Hanif, CV, something like this. Okay, now we have, let's say, remaining 42. Being a recruiter, what do you think? Which one will you pick first? Yes, guys. You tell me, which one will you pick first?
The
This is the
first five.
requirement you have got. 5 years होना चाहिए, Azure होना चाहिए, right? And these are the 50 resumes you have got. You ultimately you are also human. Recruiter है तो क्या वो भी इंसान है, उसको भी अपना काम फास्ट करना है, right? These 42 resumes I will have to open and check कि भाई किसका कितना resume है. Sometimes people make so complicated, इतना भरा रखा होता है, ये सब होता है, that recruiters they can't even see the number of experience and they get frustrated. वहीं पर उस resume को reject कर देते हैं वो लोग. They don't have anything personal against you, but understand 5 पोजीशन के लिए दे हैव टू चेक 50 resumes. सर ये नंबर मैं फिर भी बहुत छोटा बोल रहा हूँ, ठीक है? 2 पोजीशन के लिए दे गेट 100+ resumes. They do get that, right? So some and resumes are not clear like this. यहाँ पर देखो, look at this. Cloud engineer. If this we had prepared for some other one, so we mentioned cloud engineer. If we are targeting Azure, we'll mention Azure engineer here or Azure administrator, right? यहाँ पर we have clearly mentioned that we have this much of experience, and we have clearly mentioned this. So this is very easy to read. But sometimes you will see profiles जहां पर experience यहाँ कहीं कोने में छोटा सा लिखा होगा. Some people they have not written total number of experience. Recruiter will have to go and read, okay, to 2015 से 2020, okay, 5 years, यहाँ पर इतना कितना है total experience. So instead of doing that, it's very simple for them. Let's pick up these 8 resumes and let's start checking these 8 resumes. इनमें से कुछ मिल गया, अच्छा ये 8 में से ये 6 लिख रहे, अच्छे लग रहे, let's start the interview with these guys. ये नहीं होगा, then I will see these resumes. Are you getting the point, guys? So this is the very first thing where you lose your chance of getting resume shortlisted. So this is very important. Name is very important. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, Sohail, but nowadays I have heard from my team lead and all that the resumes are getting read by the ATS some app and some API is there, ATS compliance, something is there. So they are reading the resume and the API is automatically rejecting the resume first of all. Then it is going to HR. If it is compliant, if the resume is ATS compliant, then it is going to HR and then it is going to manager and then they will schedule the interview process. That's what I
That
have
is
heard
true, but
recently.
to an extent. I hardly know a company in India which will use ATS. ATS is mostly being used
Mhm.
specifically in Dubai openings, Dubai and UAE, those openings. यहाँ पर उतना
Mhm.
ATS का ये नहीं है. And even if it is
अच्छा.
ATS, that is fine. The resume which we have prepared, it is completely ATS friendly. If you want
Yeah.
more
Okay.
ATS friendly, you can remove
Hmm.
these colors as well. Most ATS friendly, ATS is nothing guys, it's application tracking system. एक system होता है जहाँ पे आपके resume को वो खुद से कुछ keywords वगैरह पढ़ता है. So don't worry about it at all. Our resumes, they are completely ATS friendly. Any ATS system will not be able to reject this resume if they have the uh, opening for Azure admin. ATS के algorithm को, if you read it, if you have time, I'll share a video with you, or I'll share their documents, what ATS softwares they have provided, or their guidelines, right? If you have time, otherwise it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. How it works, that it has some data, some input, that this is the opening. Again, we can take the same example, that this is the opening which I have. So what are the essential thing? 5 years should be the experience. Azure admin keywords should be there. And as an Azure admin, what are the job description? So in job description, I must have written some skills, etc. Example, I need someone who has worked on VNet. I need someone who has worked on VMSs. I need someone who has worked on migration. I need someone who has worked on ignore the spelling mistake, guys. I need someone who has worked on storage, etc. So these are the keywords which recruiters or their team will feed to these ATS systems. And based on this, ATS systems will start screening your resume. So if you see, our resumes will have all of that. Azure storage, you will see landing zone, you will see Azure monitoring, you will see Azure migration, you will see Azure AS, Azure Pass, Entra ID. We have covered everything here, right? And here we can add few more things as example, Azure VMSs. Now, wherever you guys are comfortable, try adding this. It's not only that you have to be on these skill set. These are minimum and mandatory. Apart from this, someone who has worked on Windows, add Windows. Someone who has worked on uh, Linux, add Linux. Someone has worked on vSphere, add vCenter. It's up to you. So this is how the system works. So even if it is ATS, don't worry. This resume is completely ATS free, ATS friendly. If you want to be very specific about ATS, I'll show you one example of ATS resume. Just give me 1 minute. But there you will have to get rid of all these icons, etc. Here it is. This is completely ATS friendly resume. This is my own resume. No color, nothing. You can go for this as well. But here I feel it's not required. Right? It's not needed here. So it's better that we go with this format. And again, any format is fine. I have told you on day one as well, last session as well. We are not worried about the format. What I'm worried about, that you should have these keywords and these wordings in your resume. But don't make your format very complicated जहां पर HR खुद पढ़ने में irritate हो जाए. Right? And don't worry about ATS. Not every company is using ATS. In fact, many companies, they are outsourcing their job to some other recruiters. और ये छोटे recruiters ATS वगैरह वैसे भी कुछ use नहीं करते. So don't worry about it. Okay? Next point. First is name. Second, yeah, okay, here it should be your name. This is your designation, whatever designation you see, which is coming in your experience letter, which appears on your salary. This applies to every one of you. Uh, People who are working on service desk, it must be written technical analyst, technical support engineer, etc. Even if it is written associate, even if it is written analyst, that is also fine. If you're working completely into non-technical background, and if it is written on your salary slip analyst, write that. Let me see if we have anyone. Hanif, Hanif Kazi. Hanif bhai, what do you see on your salary slip?
It's
आपका
collections manager.
collection
Collections
manager.
manager.
Okay, look at this. Now, this is something weird. This I will have to discuss with him on one-on-one basis, right? कलेक्शन वगैरह आ गया या एचआर एग्जीक्यूटिव आ गया तो थोड़ा सा देन विल हैव टू डिस्कस कि उसको किस तरह से प्रेजेंट करना है. हाउ डू यू प्रेजेंट, राइट? उसको हम कैसे अज्योर वाले रोल में उसको मोल्ड करेंगे. बट इफ यू हैव एनालिस्ट, यू हैव बिजनेस एनालिस्ट, बिजनेस निकाल दो, कीप एनालिस्ट एंड इन ब्रैकेट मेंशन अज्योर इंजीनियर और अज्योर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर. Administrator is better word, I would say. Engineering may then sometimes you will get development wali opening bhi. So we do not want that. Okay, next thing here you can write if you have done any certification, add here. Do not add too many. आपने छोटे मोटे certifications किए होंगे, internal किया होगा किसी ने, don't add that. Whichever is your latest and biggest achievement, just add that. As in, you have done Azure Administrator, add it. You have done Azure Fundamentalist, add it. The the easy 900, right? The basic one. If you have done it, add it here. That's it. बहुत ज़्यादा मत करो. Maximum two are more than enough. Here you can mention your total experience, but mention your Azure experience first. That is what they are interested in, right? They are not interested in your total experience. So extensive experience of 5 years as a Microsoft Azure administrator with 7 years of total IT experience. And if you do not have total IT experience, you can mention like this, total experience. Okay. Here, this is for someone who has been working in IT, but let's say service desk, etc. And now he has moved to Azure. That person can write this. Okay. But if you have worked in completely non-technical background और सिर्फ हम 2-3 साल का ये बता रहे हैं, 2-3 साल का है तो extensive वर्ड को हटा दो. ठीक है, एक्सटेंसिव एक थोड़ा सा स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्ड होता है. लेट्स से यू आर मेंशनिंग you total have an experience of 5 years, so we'll mention experience of 2+ years as Microsoft Azure administrator with total experience of 5 years. Got it? This is
Hello,
what.
hi.
Yes, Prabhat.
Uh, so I work as
We'll
service
do that,
desk.
Prabhat. Let's don't discuss your individual profiles here. Don't share your details here. What are you working as? Don't do that. These are recording sessions. This will go on YouTube. Don't do that. I'll connect with you one on all of you on one on one. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're going to discuss that. Right? Guys, do not share your company's name here. Do not share your salary, your actual work profile. Don't do that. These are recorded sessions. I'll be uploading these on YouTube, right? All everything you see here, everything, even this my resume, I have fake company name, everything. This is just dummy for understanding purpose. I'm not picking anyone's actual information here, right? So don't discuss anything here. We'll connect on one-on-one sessions, and those will be not recorded. Even if recorded, I'll just share the recording with you. Those will not go on YouTube. Okay. So whatever experience you have, you mention here, right? Uh, Total experience you can mention here. Then if you have done any certification, you can write here like this one. And let's say if you have 4 certifications, add 2 logos, but add everything here. Apart from that, if you have any example, SAP certification, any certification, Windows, Linux, even if it is ITIL, put it. Anything today. Email address, phone number, it's okay. You can bold it if you want. Right? This section, it's up to you. I leave it up to you. Here you can add LinkedIn as well if you want. In the original format, we had LinkedIn also. I can share that with you. If you want, you can add your LinkedIn also. Make sure, see, look at this. Do you see? The line is not aligned. Look at this. There is some issue. Make sure you correct all this. And I'll give you the format where you can correct all of these things. Or maybe I'll give you the corrected one. But make sure you be focused on all these things, right? Okay, once this is done, skill set, don't change anything from your Azure infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, migration, Entra ID, monitoring, uh, landing zone, we have discussed. PowerShell automation, we have discussed. I'll tell you how to explain it. Azure storage, Azure VMSS, this is common for everyone. After this, whatever you have worked on. Someone has worked on SAP, add SAP. Someone has worked on Windows, add Windows. Someone has worked on Linux, vCenter. Whatever you have worked on, add that. Someone has worked on Windows Active Directory, so you can mention that here as well. That you have worked on uh, this one. You have worked on Windows Active Directory as well, and you know Azure Active Directory, which is known as Entra ID now. So you can add that here. Right? If you have not, do not mention. And feel free, if you have too many skills, feel free to remove this gap. But don't put too many here. This is fine, I guess. You can add 2 or 3 more skills. Okay. Uh, Education section here. Some people they do add SSC, HSC. I leave it up to you. People add bachelor's and masters here. Someone who has done engineering and masters, they can add it here. It's up to you. This has nothing to do with it. It's completely fine. बहुत ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता है इससे. ठीक है. But if you add, it's good. They get more information. ठीक है. यहाँ पर add कर सकते हो आप. Now let's talk about the experience, how to divide it. This is just an example again. You can create your own resume, use your own experience, and then once you are ready with your resume, share it with me, and then we'll discuss on individual basis. Okay, now look at this one. This resume shows, by the way, I hope this goes without saying, everyone knows highest education will at the top, latest company will come here. Don't put oldest company here and latest company here. Don't put SSC here and then bachelor's and master's at the end, right? Always start in this order. The newest should be at the top. Okay. So here under work experience, look at this. This person, if we consider this as a person, so this person has worked in SAP BW consultant, right? This should be your company's name here. Whichever company you have worked. Let's say here he has not mentioned the company name. So for example, I will just type TCS. See, make sure formatting and everything is same, guys, throughout the profile. Okay. So this person has worked as a SAP BW consultant in TCS from 2015 to 2020. However, how are we portraying it as that he joined on SAP, right? So the first project, one more thing, do not extend any one of you. I mean, looking at experience, I know all of your experience. No one's resume should go on the third page. 2 page are more than enough. 2 pages are more than enough. Make sure you fit everything here on 2 pages. Do not go on the third page. Right? Rewrite something. uh, Take chat gpt's help if you want to rephrase some word in a smaller language in smaller manner, right? But do not put very high-fi words which is very clearly evident that it has taken from somewhere. Don't do that, but make sure you fit everything on 2 pages, right? So this person has joined TCS on 2015 and worked till December 2020, almost 5 years. He has, to be very honest, this is someone's resume. Okay, this person has worked completely on SAP for 5 years. And later on, he joined my classes. And even here, he did not work on cloud. This is, I guess, last to last year's resume. So complete 7 years, he did not work on Azure. But for package and etc., he moved from SAP to Azure. Right? So this is how we changed his profile. That these number of years, we did not show completely on SAP. What did we do? We showed TCS designation from 16 March 2015 to December 2020. This is a total experience. Now we divided that into two projects. We mentioned that project one, the moment I got into TCS, I started working on SAP project, and these were my roles and responsibilities. We are not discussing it, completely irrelevant. It could be your service desk, it could be anything, whatever you want to mention. We are not mentioning any time duration here. Why? Because then we get this liberty to modify this in our interview. If someone is saying that I need a person who has worked 5 years on Azure, then I can say, okay, I have worked 5 years on Azure. How come? 2020 till 2024, I'm working here. These are 4 years, and this project was for 1 year. This is 5 years. If someone says, okay, I'm looking for 6 years, yes, 4 years यहाँ पर, this project was for 2 years. Now you have liberty out of these 5 years, जितना भी आपको जैसे भी बताना है, you can mention that at the last moment whenever interviewer is asking. Okay. So first project, whatever you have done, वो हम बताते हैं. Then latest project, he will say that internally I applied for an opening, and then from here using IJP I was moved to Azure role. पेपर पे चेंज होता है तो ठीक है, नहीं भी होता है तो it's completely fine. You can say they have not changed it on paper. I was still working on old company का, वैसे भी कोई पूछता नहीं है. That will apply in the new company. I'll come to that as well. Let's say someone has only one company, बस इतना ही है, यहाँ से 24 तक है, let's say, और till date वर्क कर रहा है. Still you can add first project, दो project add कर लो, third में Azure डाल दो, and then again you don't have to put any dates here. जितना भी इंटरव्यूअर पूछ रहा है, इंटरव्यूअर is saying 2015 to 2024, 9 years of experience you have. How much experience, or how many years of experience in Azure? We are looking for six. So you can say yes. Out of these 9 years, 6 years are on Azure and 3 years it was on old project. It's up to you. This is how you can uh, manipulate your number of years experience, right? यहाँ पर भी सेम चीजें लिखी है, but here you will put your Azure experience. Here we did not want to mention, ये completely हमने SAP का बताया है, तो it's completely fine. But if you want, you can mention some Azure experiences here. Do not copy and paste exact thing. Mention something else. Maybe similar things, but maybe in different words, etc. So now look at this. Now if they are saying कि I need 5 years, okay, this is 5 years. 4 years यहाँ पर, and this is 1 year here. They say six years. Yes, I have worked on this project for 2 years. So 4 years in this company and 2 years here. This is how you can manipulate your profile. So this could be your first company, second company, however you want to do it. या आपके पास बहुत ही ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस, तो फर्स्ट कंपनी पूरा जो पहले कर रहे थे वो बता दो, सेकंड कंपनी में दो प्रोजेक्ट को डिवाइड कर दो. देन करंट कंपनी, करंट one always should be on Azure unless you have worked only in one company for a decade. वहां पर आपको प्रोजेक्ट बताने होंगे. इफ यू हैव अ प्रोफाइल लाइक दिस, जहां पर आपकी करंट कंपनी 2 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, तो पूरा लास्ट वाले में कुछ और आधा अज्योर, करंट पे कंप्लीटली अज्योर बता दो. 2 years, 3 years. Do not go beyond that. If you have 6-7 साल का एक ही कंपनी में एक्सपीरियंस, don't claim that you have worked for 7 years on Azure. Your interview will be difficult. Got it? Exactly these roles and responsibilities you can copy paste. इसमें ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है जो हमने नहीं किया है. Right? We have done everything from migration to high availability solution, load balancer. And here I have not used any word of designing. I have not used that word. And do not say that in your interview. Do not use those words. Right? So keep it up to implementation. You can portray yourself that you have worked as an implementation engineer. Look at this. We have implemented high availability solution. So you have not designed it, you have implemented it. When you say you have implemented, what does it mean? That you got the design from somewhere, right? And you implemented. Bastion configuration. You're not designing the Bastion, you're doing the configuration. Responsible for managing network in storage as well. We have seen that network in storage, that if you want this storage to be accessed from outside or not. Working on PowerShell, working on portal through PowerShell, working on portal and through PowerShell. So we have created resources on portal and through PowerShell as well. This is what you can mention when you talk about PowerShell. You will have to say that I have not done the scripting from scratch, but our architect team, they used to give us scripts, and I'm very good at reading them and I can modify them, I can reuse them. किसी भी तरह का मुझको प्रोजेक्ट मिलता था, मैं उसी पुराने स्क्रिप्ट को लेकर आता था, and I used to modify that and reuse it. This is how you have to explain. Migration we have done. Enter ID, don't say much about Enter ID. You can stick to this, that as an implementation engineer, what I used to do is creating resources as in users and security groups, etc. For access. किसको access दोगे आप? Let's say you are migrating 30 virtual machines, as you have mentioned in the last point. You are migrating 30 virtual machines. मतलब इन machines के application owner, इनके administrator, इन पे काम करने वाले कोई ना कोई हो गए वहां पर, राइट, ऑन प्रिम पे. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द एंड यूजर्स, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हु आर वर्किंग ऑन दीज मशीन्स. अब ये मशीन्स आप अज्योर पे लेकर आ गए, तो उनको अज्योर पे एक्सेस चाहिए होगा, राइट? कि कल इसकी रैम बढ़ानी है, ये करना है, तो किसको किस तरह का रोल देना है, आरबैक, आईएम रोल. सो दोज यूजर्स, व्हेन इट कम्स टू माइग्रेशन, यू माइग्रेट दोज यूजर्स एज वेल. So that you have done, you can say, in Active Directory. Otherwise, Entra ID or Azure Active Directory, it's huge topic. You can get all of the users, you can sync all of users, you can have conditional access, etc. But in every company, like in on-premises, you will have a Windows and Linux team, and you will have a dedicated Active Directory team. Similarly, in Azure also, you will have an admin team and you will have a Microsoft Entra ID team. So you can say that we have one resource, or we had two resources uh, which were dedicated for Entra ID tasks. So I have not worked in Entra ID in detail, but creating user, deleting, resetting password, creating security group, मतलब जो भी हमने किया है यहाँ पर, that you can mention, adding someone, giving someone role. And RBAC we have done thoroughly. RBAC AD के अंदर नहीं आता है, IAM वाला role. ठीक है? That is how you can mention it. So we have 2 minutes left, guys. I'm done with the resume thing. Anyone has any question, do ask. It should not be related to your experience, your uh, your profile. Any common question, generic question, please do ask here. We are yet to discuss the project and Naukri profile. Don't worry. This is just for the resume.
If we have vacancy for the relevant with the Azure Microsoft Intra ID,
Hmm.
then it's we have to apply for that,
No,
or we
no,
can.
no, 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 don't go. Entra ID completely different profile. Entra ID people will not be able to crack your interview. You guys will not be able to crack Entra ID interviews. It's completely different. Entra ID, data engineering, data profiles, we are not targeting them. Those are different profiles. They will not be able to do admin's job. You will not be able to do their job. We are not targeting that.
Thank you.
Yes, guys. Anything else? And don't be disappointed. Most of the openings you will see it at the admin side. If you set 10 openings in admin side, you will see one in Entra ID and two in data side. Most of the openings you will see in uh, Microsoft admin and specifically for migration. So you will always have the upper hand. Okay. If you guys do not have any questions, uh, let's take a break of 5 minutes. It's 3:40. So let's rejoin at 3:45 using the same link and we'll discuss Naukri profile. If anyone is comfortable sharing their Naukri credentials, share it with me in these 5 minutes and I'll open his or her Naukri and we'll update that and the rest of you can check that. If not, well, I'll start with the dummy profile. Okay, we'll join at 3:45 using the same link. I'm stopping the session now.